We disempower our children all the time without even realising it. And Charlie and I had an encounter, would you say, yesterday in the dentist. Is that right, Char?
Yeah.
Char was going to be assessed for braces, and she is getting the Hyrax appliance, and then she's getting braces. But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is this. When we walked into the lobby of our dentist, you have to approach the desk to say who you are when you are seeing the dentist. So I walked in and I sat down because, why did I do that, Char?
Because you're not the patient, I am.
Because it wasn't my appointment, yeah?
Yeah.
So I sat down, and then Charlie stopped halfway across the lobby. So this is not new to Char. So this would happen in lots of different situations. But I sat down and Charlie stopped halfway across the lobby, and what did you say to me?
I think I said,
You have to speak up.
I don't remember what I said.
You said something along the lines of, what are you doing, ma'am?
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah.
And I said, I'm sitting down because it's not my appointment. So you need to go to the counter and speak to the lady behind the counter. And everybody in the room laughed, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't laughing. I just sat down and checked my emails. So what did you do, Char?
I went up to the desk and said who I was and who I was going to see Arda, and
You have to speak louder.
Sorry.
Speak louder, use your voice.
So then she said, she gave me a pen, and then she gave me this like piece of paper with like what are those binders? No.
A clipboard.
Clipboard. And it had loads of questions on it, like what was my full name and what was my address, and was I a nervous patient and stuff like that.
And were you allergic to anything? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant was I allergic to anything?
Okay. So what happened was, when Charlie went to the counter and started speaking to the lady behind the counter, there was a woman sitting directly beside me with her daughter, and her daughter, I would say, was maybe about 15. And the daughter says, look at her now, look at that girl up there speaking for herself. You wouldn't do that. Did you hear this, Char?
No.
Okay. And I leaned forward and I said, do you not speak for yourself in these situations? And the little young one goes, no, like, no way. And I smacked the mommy's shoulder and I said, are you doing that? Are you doing the talking for that child? And she goes, actually, yeah, I am. So I said, now, God gave you a tongue, you're going to have to use it. So we sat down and Charlie started to fill in the form, because it's not my form. I'm not the patient. It's Charlie's form. So when Charlie needed a hand with PPS numbers, which you're going to be learning, and she had some questions and I helped her fill in the form, and that was fine. But I want to give you examples. That's a way in which we disempower our children, when they have appointments and we do the talking for them, okay? Because I would have situations here in this office whereby there's a teenager just about to turn 18. They're going to become an adult and they can vote, and they cannot speak for themselves. And their parents are like, but sure, they won't do anything for themselves, and da-da-da-da. There's a reason why they won't do anything for themselves, is because they weren't given the tools to be able to look after themselves when you're not around. Like, I'm aware of the fact that I'm not going to live forever. I'm doing everything in my power to be able to live for as long as I possibly can. However, I need to know that I'm empowering my children from the get-go. And it's never too late to empower your kids, but I'm empowering my children since they were born. Since the minute they were born, I'm empowering my kids. So as soon as my kids could hold a spoon, I no longer held a spoon. As soon as my kids could get things for themselves, they got things for themselves, because that's just what they did. Now, here's another thing, how I empowered my kids. And it is so empowering and impactful, okay? As toddlers, when they were in the bath, do you remember the baths every night of the week, Chair? With the suds and the ducks and the toys and the games up on the wall and all the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
As soon as they could wash themselves, I disengaged from the washing and said this to them. This is how you wash, like I'm in 18 months, 2 years old. This is how you wash yourself. Your body is yours. Do you remember this conversation? I said it every single day at the bath.
Oh, really?
Okay. I said to you, your body is yours. You are responsible for it. You get to decide what happens to your body. So from now on, you're going to be washing it. And the kids thought that this was great. The kids thought that this was great crack, that it was their body, their squidgy, their soap, they did it. And I used to say, no, that it's your space and you get to maintain that. And you have to protect that and you have to make sure that nobody enters that space because that's yours and it's precious. Do you remember now, Char?
Yeah.
Okay, so to add on from that, let's go to the example of when we're in restaurants. So what happens when we're in restaurants, Char?
I would order for myself and I would go up and like if I wanted something, I would go ask for it. I wouldn't be like, Mom, can you go do that for me? I would go do it.
What would happen if you asked me to do it for you?
What you would say, you could do it yourself. God gave you a mouth for a reason.
That's a good impression of me, Char. Okay, so for example, my kids were always good grubbers. Now, Char's a bit of a challenge at the moment, but they were always good grubbers. So they never really ate off a kid's menu. So generally the kids' menus would come with the adults and the kids would say, can we have an adult's menu or will we just share these? They'd order their dinner. If they had any questions, you would always...
That reminds
me. Go on, what do you want to say?
Whenever, if I was like getting a soft drink or anything in like a restaurant and we go out for dinner, I would ask, could I have no ice?
Brilliant. So I'm really glad that you said that, Char, because it is extremely important. There's so many layers of lessons in this conversation between me and Char, right? It is extremely important that we ask in all situations for exactly what it is that we want. Because if we get things in life that we didn't really want, we end up disappointed and we don't enjoy things as much as we could do if we had it just as we like it, okay? That's a really good example, Char, well done. Now, what would happen if the wrong dinner came out for you? How would you handle that situation?
I would say, that never happened before.
But just say, for example.
I'd probably say, excuse me, this isn't what I ordered. You might have got the wrong dish or something. I don't know.
Okay. Did you see oh, I'm loving this conversation. Did you see there the way Charlie said, excuse me, this isn't right? She didn't say, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Good girl, Char. I see you do well, Char, aren't I? Yeah. Okay. We overuse the word sorry all of the time, okay?
Can I explain why?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we say sorry too much because if you say like, if you're like in a restaurant, let's say, and you'd like one of the waiters, or we normally say sorry instead of excuse me, because you shouldn't be saying sorry because you're not apologizing. So you should be saying excuse me instead.
Good girl. Are you speaking in an American accent, Char?
No.
Okay, so we overuse the word sorry all of the time. You should only ever say sorry when you've done something wrong. So when you're trying to get past somebody, what do we say?
Excuse me.
Excuse me. If you want to get somebody's attention, what do we say?
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Wonderful. Okay. Another example of, well, that would, the opposite of that would be how we disempower children if we don't give them an opportunity to order their food in restaurants. Now, say we are going through drive-through. What happens in drive-through in our family?
If I was sitting in the front, in the front seat, I would.
Or even if you're in the back. I don't care where you are. If you're in the car,
I would have to take off my seatbelt, even though the car stopped. Be safe.
Good girl, Char.
I would lean over into the window and then I'd like speak to into the microphone thing.
Okay, so you place your own orders in drive-through.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. When we, not that you're ever sick, Charlie, because you're generally very healthy, but if I ever, tired, pal?
Yeah, I just keep on yawning.
Okay, so when you go to the doctor, who does the doctor talk to when we are in the surgery? Okay, now a lot of times, now our doctor wouldn't, but a lot of times, say in hospitals or whatever, doctors will try and speak to the parents. What that does is that it excludes the child from the conversation. They don't feel like they have the power. They don't feel like they have the control. They don't feel included or heard. Okay. Now, obviously, it's very important for parents to ask questions and to fully understand. However, we need to empower our children to know that they're a very important part of the conversation if there's something wrong with their bodies. Yeah. I can recall when Jay was, I was pregnant on you. So Jay was about 2 years old. And you have to remember, Jamie came out and me talking. Okay, so we talked from the minute he was born, and he had a whole set of teeth at like 8 months old. Jay developed pneumonia. Jay was very sick when he was born, very, very strong now. He had a very rare condition called laryngomalacia. So we were used to being in and out of hospital quite regularly with him, and we spent the first 2 years basically of his life living off fucking Temple Street Hospital floor. But I was pregnant on Charlie. I was out here, and Jay developed pneumonia. One of his lungs was completely not working, and he had very small capacity in the other. And the consultant started to speak to me, and I said, don't talk to me. You need to talk to Jay, because he needs to know what it is that he needs to do. So, you know, sometimes in hospitals, the way kids won't take medication, or kids freak out when they're having needles, or kids won't keep a nebulizer on them. We never entertained any of that. We spoke to them about it. We explained it was going to hurt. We told them that it would only be for a second. We're here. We're making good eye contact with them. We're never going to leave you. We're holding their hand. We never, even through lumbar punctures with Jamie, we never left him. And the hospital didn't want us to be in the room at the time, but we put action hat on. We don't fall apart at the seams. We just go into action mode, and we don't ever want the kids to be on their own when they're in vulnerable situations like that. So at 2 and a bit years old, Jamie negotiated with the consultant. He said to the consultant, what do I have to do to get out of here? That's what he actually said.
Doesn't like the hospital.
Jay strongly dislikes hospitals for reasons like. So he, the consultant was very he was totally out of this man's comfort zone. And he kept trying to talk to me, and I said, I'm not the one that has to take the nebulizer. He has to. So you need to tell him what to do. And he said, if you hold the nebulizer over your face and go through 2 of them tanks and inhale every single bit of that, I'll let you home. And Jamie said, I will. I'm actually getting emotional even thinking of it. And he looked at me and he goes, he won't. And the nurse came along and said, he won't. He sat in that bed like as if his life actually did depend on it, like his life depended on it, and held it on so that nothing escaped around the edges, and inhaled. And he asked for the consultant when he had finished. And the consultant, because a crowd started gathering around the bed, nurses pointing and doctors pointing, look at this kid, look at this kid, look at this kid. And the consultant said, we've actually never seen anything like that. He could give lessons in how to take a nebulizer properly, and they let him home. So we were delighted about that. But are there any other, so disempowering your kids by not involving them in hospitals and doctors, is there any other ways in which you think is good for you where you feel empowered, Char? So say, for example, the other day in the, are we boring you, Char? How did you feel after you did your own speaking in the dentist the other day?
Empowered.
You felt empowered. How else did you feel?
Confident.
Confident, yeah. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Did you feel important?
Yeah.
Because you are important.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
I feel like this, especially when I'm in like the doctors or something, and if like, I know you wouldn't do this, but I feel like a lot of people do this. Like if the parents are talking to the doctor, and like they say what's wrong, and the child doesn't say what's wrong, I feel like they'll probably lose something else, and then the child will be like, no, that's not really what's wrong with me. I know what's wrong with me.
Okay.
But like,
So you'd be robbing their voice.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the word I was.
So the whole point of me doing this live stream with Charlie is that you can get her understanding on what it's like to live an empowered life as a child. Yeah. But also, we're subconsciously also a knackered child. She's absolutely exhausted. We unconsciously is the word I'm looking for. We unconsciously disempower our kids without even realizing. So in the next couple of days, just check yourself and see, am I talking? Like, I would have to stop parents sometimes speaking in here because the child is the client. You know, when I'm taking kids, the child is the client and they have to be able to do their own speaking. So let us check and see, Char, is there any comments now where we need to be getting back to people? Rona says, excellent, good woman yourself, Charlie. There's Sarah. Hi, Sarah Ash Daly, haven't seen you for ages. Martina Keelan, God, Nicola, you're a hard taskmaster. Do you think I'm a hard taskmaster?
LOL.
Do you think I'm a hard taskmaster, Char?
What's that mean?
Do you think I'm a difficult mammy?
What do you mean, like?
Am I a hard mammy?
Like pushing me in my comfort zone?
Mm.
Is that what you mean? Sometimes, yeah. But then at the same time, I'm kind of like glad you do.
Good. Rona.
Yes!
And loads of thumbs up and all from Rona. Look. Sorry, I'm just scrolling down. Rona says, mini me. Charlie is, listen, she's an empowerment specialist already. Patricia Malone said, brilliant. Barbara Frazzoni says, hello. Rona says, I always refer to my boys and ask them to speak to the doctor. Wonderful, Rona. I'm delighted to hear that. I'm not one bit surprised. Elaine Lyons Bede, you're just amazing, love, your content and life stories. Thank you ever so much. That is very nice of you to say. Emma Mongi, amazing story. Go, Jamie. Yeah. I'd actually, do you know, we should do a live stream with Jay, even though he's not really into it.
I was supposed to say, probably won't do it.
Yeah, he's not really into it, but we might ask him to share that story. Elaine Bede, you're a gorgeous smile your daughter has.
Thank you.
Elaine said that.
I actually keep feeling like I keep on smiling in this video. I just can't stop.
Why is that, Cher?
I can't stop yawning, I can't stop smiling.
That's good. Billy Bowe said, well done, girls. Janice O'Neill says, brilliant, well done. Barbara Frazzoni said, I love that, Charlie. I love that. Charlie is so well able to speak. Good for you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Well done. There's Amanda Griffin watching. And Sharon Kelly as well. How are you? Nay Quinn, love this. Feel I do this as eldest gone away to uni and has used the life skills to crack on. Isn't that fantastic? Right, so that is all of the, Amanda Griffin says, beautiful smiles, thank you. So that's all we want to say. Do your very best to empower your kids on a daily basis. And if you have any empowering stories that you have with your children, I would love to hear them on this thread. Take it easy. Have a great evening. What's say salon, Char?
Salon.
Charlie's dancing wasn't on, hence why she's here. Her dancing is across the road. So now she's in work with Mommy for the next 2 hours. Isn't that great, Char? Yay! Salon. Oh, it won't end. See, this is the hassle with live. Look.